Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the court, I stand before you to address not just a single traffic violation, but a larger systemic issue that affects countless drivers on our roads every day. The posted speed limits, while intended to ensure our safety, often fail to reflect the realities of traffic flow and contributes to major traffic problems. Moreover, the enforcement of these limits lacks consistency and fails to address the real criminals amongst traffic. Throughout this trial, I will demonstrate how these factors have influenced my driving behavior and why, in the context of the broader system, I am not deserving of punishment. Thank you. To prove my innocence, I need to begin by addressing the fact that the current posted speed limit does not reflect the natural flow of traffic on highways. There are many symptoms of a speed limit that does not reflect the natural flow of traffic. According to a report by the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials in 1994, experience has shown that speed limits set arbitrarily below the reasonable and prudent speed perceived by the public are difficult to enforce, produce noncompliance, encourage disrespect for the law, create unnecessary antagonism toward law enforcement officers, and divert traffic to lesser routes. In my day-to-day life, and I am sure as well as everyone in this courtroom, I see noncompliance as almost no driver on the highways travels at the posted speed limit. I can prove that the natural flow of traffic on US 61 is not the posted speed limit. To do this, I gathered evidence driving on the specific length of road I was pulled over on. I recorded myself traveling at 60 miles per hour, the limit, in the right lane, in the passing lane, and both lanes. In the videos where I travel the posted speed limit in the right lane, you will notice that I am consistently being passed. This means that the drivers passing me are traveling above the posted speed limit. You will notice they drive past at varying speeds. Some may be going 65, 70, 80, maybe even more. In some cases, like having the blue semi behind me, we start impeding traffic. In just 4 videos, traveling the posted speed limit in the passing lane, I was overtaken 48 times in under 20 minutes. As I am traveling the posted speed limit, you will notice I do not pass a single driver. I am overtaken by every driver. Traffic builds behind me. I get angry gestures and stares because traveling the posted speed limit in the passing lane is improper use. I drove the posted speed limit with someone beside me. Instantly, we started creating traffic and a lot of it because the speed limit does not reflect the natural flow of traffic. As these drivers sit behind me, you will notice them flash their brights, swerve side to side, and more as they want to pass and are getting agitated. If all lanes are required to go the same speed, no one is allowed to pass. But this is the lawful expectation of the posted speed limit as it is for all lanes of traffic. US 61 is not the only limit that does not reflect the natural flow of traffic. On all highways, we can see the symptoms. We see drivers traveling above the posted speed limit as soon as we enter the highway. We see drivers slowing down and braking abruptly for the police. We see drivers traveling above the posted speed limit next to the police. We see overtaking. We see improper use of lanes. We see traffic buildup. These are all indicators the speed limit does not reflect the natural flow of traffic. To prove that the limit is not reflected on all highways, I gathered 12 videos, 98 minutes of me traveling the posted speed limit in the passing lane on various highways around St. Louis. In those 98 minutes, traveling the maximum limit, I passed about 18 drivers. In those 98 minutes, roughly 503 drivers overtook me. I also received at least 25 angry gestures. This evidence proves the posted speed limit does not reflect the natural flow of traffic on US 61 and any highway. Not only does my evidence prove that the natural flow of traffic on US 61 is greater than the posted speed limit, I believe it also proves that the speed limit does not reflect the 85th percentile rule. The 85th percentile speed or 85th percentile rule is a traffic engineering standard used to set the speed limit for vehicles on a public roadway. It refers to a speed where 85% of vehicles travel at or below. My evidence proves that the natural flow of traffic on US 61, the 85th percentile, is much greater than the current posted speed limit by highlighting how no driver is following the posted speed limit. Due to the large amount of non-compliance for the posted speed limit, major issues are being caused on the highways. Some of the issues we see are overtaking, traffic buildup, unnatural braking, road rage, and improper lane use. There is a difference between passing and overtaking. Passing is on the left, and overtaking is when a driver passes someone on the right. Passing is predictable, as it is the passing lane. Drivers passing do not need to change lanes. Overtaking is unpredictable, as drivers need to change lanes and change speeds abruptly. Overtaking is caused by the posted speed limit. Let us assume a speed limit is set at 60 miles per hour. Without a realistic limit, drivers will have inconsistent speeds while occupying the passing lane. Some drivers feel that 65 is speeding and fast enough for the passing lane. Other drivers would like to drive at 75 miles per hour because they feel they are speeding and it is the fast lane. Even though the limit is 60 miles per hour, we see drivers traveling at speeds of 90 miles per hour and over. When a driver that is traveling faster reaches someone going slower and impeding the passing lane, they will overtake. Overtaking is dangerous for many reasons. As I said, it is unpredictable. The overtaking driver will be changing speeds abruptly. The overtaking driver may change one lane or multiple. There may be large vehicles blocking vision. There may be entrance ramps and exit ramps with merging traffic. In essence, there are so many examples of how overtaking is dangerous and why we should aim to avoid it at all costs. The current speed limit is causing traffic buildup by prohibiting the act of passing. Because drivers occupy the highway at speeds that are not passing drivers to their right, it creates blocks of traffic. Traffic blocks are a brewing pot for dangerous situations. Drivers get antsy being blocked in on all sides. Drivers are eager to pass the instant they see an opportunity to finally pass. Drivers get angry when someone is impeding the passing lane with space in front of them. Overtaking is common in blocks of traffic as drivers want to get through it. Vehicles will be in blind spots. Drivers will gather too close, preventing vision of the road ahead. Traffic buildup is dangerous for many reasons, and this is why we should avoid traffic buildup. Our current posted speed limit is causing unnatural braking for many reasons. The most important example is the general public braking anytime an officer becomes present on the highways. We see drivers brake hard if an officer is on the side of the road. We see drivers brake hard when they reach an officer in traffic. Not only does braking for officers solidify the fact that the posted speed limit does not reflect the natural flow of traffic, but it creates dangerous situations as one driver may see the officer and the other may not. Why should we change our natural way of driving due to a police officer being present? We should not. We see unnatural braking in the form of brake checking. Brake checking often happens in the passing lane. A driver will be impeding the flow of traffic and feel the driver behind them is too close. The driver impeding traffic will brake check to tell them to back off. The driver impeding traffic and brake checking is in the wrong. Whether unnatural braking happens for officers, brake checking, or any other reason, it is unnecessary and can lead to dangerous situations that we should avoid. Our current posted speed limit is causing road rage. Road rage can be expressed in many ways, from an angry stare to rude hand gestures, brake checking, and consistent dangerous driving. We see road rage come from someone being brake checked. We see road rage when a driver is impeding the passing lane. These incidents can start off meaningless, but can quickly escalate. A stare may not be inherently dangerous until they stare too long and hit the driver in front of them. If a driver gets brake checked, they may feel the need to overtake and brake check back. This endangers the other drivers on the road as they are being overtaken, and are unnaturally braking due to road rage. Brake checking back and forth can lead to both drivers increasing speed to keep up with the other, swerve in and out of traffic, push each other and other drivers out of lanes, essentially drive recklessly. These actions endanger drivers on the road that have nothing to do with their road rage. These dangerous scenarios caused by road rage are examples why we should aim to avoid road rage. Due to the current posted speed limit, we see improper lane use in all lanes of traffic. On a 2-lane road, the right lane is the traveling lane, as well as the merging lane, and the left lane is the passing lane. On a 5-lane highway, the first 2 lanes are the merging lanes. The next 2 lanes are the traveling lanes. The farthest left lane is the passing lane. We see the merging lanes being used improperly as drivers will frequently occupy this space with no intention of exiting the highway. They occupy the farthest right lane because they are traveling slower than most traffic. This can block merging traffic from entering the highway smoothly and gives the impression that you are expecting to merge as well. We see the merging lanes being used improperly when a driver overtakes into the merging lanes. This creates unnecessary movements in the merging lanes, paired with braking, lack of vision, and merging traffic. Overtaking into the merging lanes will lead to disaster. We see the traveling lanes being used improperly when drivers in lanes on the right are going faster than lanes on the left. This improper lane use can make it difficult for drivers to enter the highway safely from the merging lanes and creates an inconsistent flow of traffic. We see drivers sporadically changing lanes in both directions to advance through traffic when drivers should only pass on the left. This creates unpredictable lane changes. We see the passing lane being improperly used when drivers are not passing. This is the most crucial lane to be used properly. Impeding traffic from advancing causes all of the issues I have just mentioned: overtaking, traffic buildup, unnatural braking, road rage, and improper lane use. Just one driver improperly using the passing lane can cause all of these issues, and is exactly why improper lane use is an issue we need to avoid. The next step in proving my innocence is by proving that it is currently unlawful to travel in the passing lane. The most obvious ordinance that makes it unlawful to travel in the passing lane that has me here is speeding. Ordinance 304-426, 26 to 30 miles per hour over the posted speed limit. There are ordinances for traveling any speed above the posted speed limit, from 1 to 5 miles per hour over to 26 plus miles per hour over. These ordinances make it unlawful to use the passing lane to pass drivers that are already going the posted speed limit or greater, as it is for all lanes of traffic. My evidence of traveling the posted speed limit in the passing lane highlights how traveling the posted speed limit in the passing lane is breaking more ordinances than when you are just speeding. In my evidence, I was improperly using the passing lane, and I was driving at such a slow speed to impede the natural flow of traffic. I was not properly using the passing lane, as I was not passing drivers, but drivers were constantly overtaking me. My speed was impeding the natural flow of traffic, creating traffic blocks, causing overtaking, and caused improper lane use. This means that while traveling the posted speed limit in the passing lane, I was breaking two ordinances: Ordinance 304-112, improper lane use, and Ordinance 300-101, drove at such a slow speed to impede/block normal and reasonable traffic movement. Not only am I breaking ordinances, but I also cause drivers to improperly use the lanes, Ordinance 304-112, and break Ordinance 304-114, pass vehicle on right. Due to the current natural flow of traffic, the current posted speed limit, and the current set of ordinances, it is unlawful to travel in the passing lane at any speed. We cannot travel at the posted speed limit in the passing lane, as we will be impeding the natural flow of traffic. We cannot travel at the posted speed limit in the passing lane, as we will be improperly using the lane. We cannot travel at the posted speed limit in the passing lane without causing others to break ordinances. We cannot travel at the posted speed limit in the passing lane without causing major traffic problems. We cannot travel above the posted speed limit to pass the drivers traveling the current posted speed limit. We cannot travel above the posted speed limit to pass the drivers that are traveling above the current posted speed limit. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot use the passing lane lawfully. My next step in proving my innocence is by proving that the state lacks the information to impose punishment and warrant change. The state lacks the evidence to prove any of the information they claim. To validate the officer's ticket, the prosecutor uses information like the officer's credentials, radar detector calibration, verification of me being the driver and vehicle he stopped. Officer Downs may be an exemplary officer, but this does not prove any of the information. Starting at the point of detection, we have no picture or video evidence of what that radar detector said. We have no picture or video evidence to prove what lane of the road I was occupying. We have no picture or video evidence of the natural flow of traffic that day. This lack of evidence leaves room for reasonable doubt that I may not even be the target of this traffic stop, and that the speed may not be accurate. I believe my evidence proves that a ticket lacks the information to warrant change in my driving. The only aspect that is needing change is my speed, as that is the only charge. Due to the natural flow of traffic, a change of speed to the posted speed limit in the passing lane will only create more problems. If we change our speeds in the passing lane, then we start breaking more ordinances than if we were speeding. We start creating traffic problems like overtaking, improper lane use, etc. Due to the lack of information, we cannot prove the speed of the drivers in the lane to my right. If I was passing drivers in the right lane, then my speeds could have been reasonable due to the natural flow of traffic. Due to the lack of information, we cannot prove the distance between myself and the driver in front of me. This would prove if I was driving too close to the driver in front of me, endangering other drivers. Video evidence could prove if I was abusing my speed by swerving in and out of traffic, or if I was just casually traveling in the passing lane with the natural flow of traffic. Due to the lack of information, we cannot prove the distance between myself and the driver behind me. This could prove why I felt the need to travel at the speed they say. Due to the lack of information, we cannot prove if I was being unsafe. I believe my evidence proves that traveling in the passing lane is the safest lane to occupy. The passing lane is the safest lane for many reasons. It keeps drivers out of the merging lane. By keeping drivers out of the merging lanes, it allows drivers to merge safely onto the highway. Typically, the passing lane only has one lane next to them. Only having one lane next to you makes it easy to anticipate when a driver will enter the lane in front of you. While occupying the road in the passing lane, you avoid the random braking and lane changing we currently see in the traveling and merging lanes of the highway. In my circumstance, I was on a 2-lane road with 15 plus miles until I needed to exit the highway. Because I have no trailers or any reason for me to travel slowly, I have no reason to be occupying the right lane on US 61. Paired with no intention of exiting the highway, the passing lane is the lane I should have been occupying. I believe that my evidence of the current natural flow of traffic proves that traveling at the speed they say I was would be close to the safest speed I should be traveling. To properly use the passing lane, I need to be traveling faster than the drivers in the lane to my right. This will prevent from creating traffic, prevent me from impeding the passing lane, prevent me from being in drivers' blind spots for long durations, prevent me from blocking a driver from merging to the passing lane. To properly use the passing lane, I also need to travel at a speed faster than the driver behind me. Traveling faster than the driver behind me will prevent traffic buildup, prevent the need for overtaking, allows me to control the distance between myself and the driver behind me. Based on my evidence, I believe it proves that traveling in the lane and at the speed they say I was would drastically improve my safety by eliminating the major traffic issues I could face by traveling the posted speed limit in either lane with the current natural flow of traffic. Traveling the posted speed limit in the right lane could potentially put me in the way of merging traffic when I have no reason to be in that lane. Traveling the posted speed limit in the right lane could put me in harm's way of a driver that wants to overtake another from the passing lane. Forcing me to travel the posted speed limit would essentially be forcing me to travel in the right lane on US 61 and would never allow lawful use of the passing lane. Traveling the posted speed limit in the passing lane would create the issues I have highlighted like overtaking, traffic buildup, and put me in dangerous situations like road rage. This is why traveling in the right lane or the posted speed limit in the passing lane would be more dangerous than traveling in the passing lane with the natural flow of traffic, and is exactly why a change to the posted speed limit is an unrealistic expectation for my safety and the other drivers on the road. The next step in proving my innocence is by proving that the current posted speed limit is not the enforced limit. I'm sure everyone has heard that you can safely travel 5 miles per hour over the speed limit without being pulled over, maybe something close to that. The current posted speed limit is not the speed at which officers start giving tickets. To prove this, I gathered evidence of traffic tickets over the past 10 years, video evidence of traffic flowing next to officers above the current posted speed limit, video evidence of police officers and state highway patrol officers exceeding the speed limit, video evidence of an officer driving at speeds of over 100 miles per hour, swerving in and out of traffic for 5 minutes. To gather the evidence for the traffic tickets back until 2014, I used the Missouri State Highway Patrol statistics for citations. I could do up to a year at a time and selected only the Lincoln County area to get as close to the specific road as I could. And every year, there are little to no citations for drivers traveling 1 to 10 miles per hour over. The maximum amount of citations for 1 to 10 miles per hour over was 44 citations for 6 to 10 miles per hour over. This evidence of a lack of citations for these speeds proves the speed limit is not the enforced limit and has not been for 10 years. This lenient tolerance of 1 to 10 miles per hour over is a leading cause as to why drivers travel above the posted speed limit. When we look at the average ticket given, in the early years the average citation was given to drivers traveling 11 to 15 miles per hour over, peaking at 768 citations. Over the next few years, we see a drastic drop in citations for traveling 11 to 15 miles per hour over, going as low as 46 citations. When we look at the citations for 16 to 19 miles per hour over, we see a similar pattern. In the early years, peaking at 477 citations and dropping to 86 citations in a year. I believe this evidence proves a drastic increase in the speeding tolerance over the years. A tolerance of 19 miles per hour over a 60 mile per hour limit is 79 miles per hour. It is not until we look at citations for 20 to 25 miles per hour over the posted speed limit do we see the opposite. In the early years, there were small amounts of citations given starting at 194. In 2022 to 2023, we see a peak of 460 citations. We see an increase in these citations because drivers feel that they can consistently travel at speeds of 11 to 19 miles per hour over without the fear of getting pulled over. When drivers are occupying the road in this range, it encourages passing drivers to pass at 20 to 25 miles per hour over to use the road properly. I believe this evidence highlights how inconsistent enforcement will lead to non-compliance and entrapment. When we look at the citations for 26 plus miles per hour over, we will notice that the amount starts low as drivers could not travel 11 to 19 miles per hour over. It starts at 54 citations, goes as low as 12 citations, and gets as high as 192 in a year. I believe this evidence proves that with a strict enforcement it was consistent and prevented excess speeding, but with an increase of the tolerance showed an increase in drivers traveling at those speeds. Although the strict limit prevented excess speeding, I believe it was the start of the conflict between drivers and officers on the roads, leading to a less strict enforcement of the posted speed limit in later years. I believe this evidence also proves that there is a speed at which people do not typically exceed. Drivers already stop speeding so much at speeds of 86 plus miles per hour on their own. I believe that this proves the 85th percentile, when given the freedom, is much greater than 60 miles per hour, and without proper data seems to reflect close to 90 miles per hour. I believe this evidence proves the difficulties of enforcing a limit that does not reflect the natural flow of traffic. The purpose of the police and state highway patrol pulling drivers over is to prevent drivers from speeding. I believe this evidence proves that it is doing the exact opposite and encouraging drivers to speed. In the early years, we saw the average citation given to 11 to 15 miles per hour over. We see a shift to 16 to 19 miles per hour, then finally to 20 to 25 miles per hour over in the most recent years. This proof of a lack of enforcement poses a few questions. Do Officer Downs' recent citations reflect a strict enforcement of the posted speed limit on US 61? If officers are not consistently pulling drivers over for traveling above 60 miles per hour, how can I be charged against a 60 mile per hour limit? I gathered 14 videos of officers allowing drivers to travel above the posted speed limit next to them. This concrete evidence proves that the posted speed limit is not always the enforced limit, that the officers are allowing drivers to speed. This makes it impossible to know at what speed you will be stopped. In some of the videos, they use this to their advantage. They hide amongst a group of cars that are already traveling above the posted speed limit and then wait for a driver to pass in the passing lane. The driver in the passing lane is doing nothing wrong as they are using the lane properly by passing traffic, but is threatened by an officer that was allowing others to speed. In the videos with officers, you will notice a consistent pattern of traffic braking, slowing down, and consistently avoiding passing the officers. These actions are unnecessary and are causing traffic problems that I have mentioned. These actions prove the fear we have for officers. These actions prove entrapment. Not only do we see officers and state highway patrol officers allow other drivers to speed, they are also speeding themselves. My video evidence of pacing police and state highway patrol proves that they travel above the posted speed limit without the use of their lights and sirens. Their role model examples of speeding is a leading cause to non-compliance for the posted speed limit. I was not already driving in this manner, as you can see by the beginning of this piece of evidence. The most supporting evidence of officers is the officer driving at speeds of over 100 miles per hour, swerving in and out of traffic. This officer was not using their lights and no sirens. This evidence highlights many of the major problems I have mentioned. This officer was overtaking drivers due to the passing lane being used improperly in traffic buildup. If the passing lane was being used properly, then the officer would not need to leave the passing lane. This evidence highlights how the officer's actions are unpredictable to other drivers. The officer merges multiple lanes at a time, near merging points, constantly changes speed to fit through traffic, moves around large vehicles without vision, and more. This proves the dangers of overtaking. This evidence highlights a lack of enforcement of the posted speed limit. I believe this evidence shows that adjusting the speed limit to better match the natural flow of traffic and encouraging faster drivers to use the left lanes can improve safety by promoting a more consistent traffic flow and addressing current congestion issues caused by mismatches between posted limits and actual driving speeds. Traveling in this manner will eliminate the need for drivers to overtake. Traveling in this manner will eliminate traffic buildup as drivers will consistently be passing the drivers to their right. Traveling in this manner means that drivers will not feel the need to brake check a driver behind them as our intention is to go forward. Traveling in this manner will eliminate many forms of road rage associated to adhering to the current posted speed limit. Traveling in this manner will mean that drivers would be encouraged rather than punished for properly using the passing lane, in turn preventing drivers from improperly using the passing lanes. Having a speed limit that encourages driving in this manner will create a safer and more consistent environment for all drivers on the road. The last step in proving my innocence is by proving that the courts and governing bodies are allowing the issue of speeding to persist without seeking preventative resolutions. The purpose of traffic stops and court punishments are to prevent the issue from happening repeatedly, to bring justice for the drivers affected by these criminal acts. I will prove this is not the case. To demonstrate that the courts and governing bodies are allowing the issue of speeding to persist, I have gathered evidence related to vehicle standards, the deficiency in required education, an examination of my driving record, and the motives of mounting a defense. Over the years, vehicles have advanced greatly. In all aspects, cars are safer now more than ever. Some vehicle standards that do not reflect the current posted speed limits are tire ratings, cruise control, brake systems, and gear ratios. A speed rating for a tire is the maximum service speed. According to a chart on Goodyear's website, the lowest rating is L, at 75 miles per hour, recommended for off-road and light truck tires. The highest rating is Y, at 186 miles per hour, recommended for sport sedans, coupes, and sport cars. According to their recommendation, an S-rated tire is recommended for families. S-rated tires are rated for 112 miles per hour. I believe this proves that tires are well past a 60 mile per hour limit, especially with the family recommendation being at 112 miles per hour. Currently, in any car, you can set cruise control at speeds much greater than the posted speed limit. Why would we be allowed to use cruise control at 90 miles per hour if we should never travel at those speeds? Should governing bodies allow manufacturers to make vehicles with these unsafe controls? Brakes on all vehicles have improved tremendously. There are many factors that have made brakes much safer today, like hydraulic braking, ABS braking, and improved braking components. We see improved braking components with better materials and components like drilled and slotted rotors. In 2012, ABS braking was made mandatory for passenger vehicles. Another safety standard that has improved drastically are airbags. We have improved positioning, the force at which they deploy, and the shapes of airbags. All of these factors have improved the capability of airbags. Gear ratios in cars refer to the relationship between the number of teeth on two interlocking gears. Lower gears provide more torque but less speed, while higher gears offer less torque but higher speed. This gearing allows engines to operate efficiently across a range of speeds and loads. In my current car, a 2009 Mazda Speed 3, the gear ratios are: first, 3.54, second, 2.24, third, 1.54, fourth, 1.17, fifth, 1.09, sixth, 0.85. In the newest model, a 2025 Mazda 3, the gear ratios are: first, 3.55, second, 2.02, third, 1.34, fourth, 1.0, fifth, 0.74, sixth, 0.59. As you can see, the gear ratios have large improvements in almost every gear. Currently, to drive the current posted speed limit in my Mazda, I would not need to use 6th gear. If I choose to use 6th gear, the car naturally wants to travel faster than the current speed limit. To adhere to the current posted speed limit, I cannot use all the gears in my car. I need to take my foot off of the accelerator and possibly even brake. If my car, made in 2009, needs to be doing this to adhere to the current posted speed limit, imagine what speeds these newer cars are trying to travel at in higher gears. For a rough estimate to help visualize the differences, I asked ChatGPT to give me general speed ranges for these cars and their gear ratios. For the 2009 Mazda Speed 3, first, 0 to 30, second, 20 to 50, third, 30 to 75, fourth, 40 to 100, fifth, 50 to 120, sixth, 60 miles per hour plus. As you can see, based off the older car in just third gear, you could be traveling the current posted speed limit. For the 2025 Mazda 3, first, 0 to 30, second, 15 to 50, third, 25 to 75, fourth, 35 to 100, fifth, 45 to 130, sixth, 55 plus. As you can see, these gear ratios in the newer Mazda makes the car capable of traveling at higher speeds with ease. In recent years, we have seen the production of one of the fastest street-legal cars, the Tesla. Not only are these cars insanely quick, but you can pay to go even faster, ludicrous mode. On the front page of purchasing a Tesla Model S, we can see that we can purchase the car for $66,490. We can also see the top speed of 200 miles per hour being promoted. Why are manufacturers and governing bodies allowing the production of cars capable of traveling at these speeds and a way to purchase even faster speeds? Over the years, we have seen improvements in our highways. We see improved material to promote better traction. We have improved drainage to reduce water buildup. Our highways provide greater vision of the road ahead. Our lanes are wide to accommodate for large vehicles. Our turns are made to accommodate traveling at high speeds. Ladies and gentlemen, every aspect of driving from the road up has improved. The only aspect not changing to improve our safety is the posted speed limit. Before drivers get their license in Missouri, there is little to no information provided to ensure safe drivers. Drivers are expected to study the driver's guide on their own. The expectation to get my license required me to do daytime driving, nighttime driving, both of which were unchecked, and practice various parking styles. These are expected to be taught by parents, friends, family, or self-indulged study. I then had to take a few tests that barely viewed my ability and knowledge of driving a vehicle on public roadways. A multiple choice quiz that went over random aspects of driving, a brief drive with some parking drills, knowledge of street signs, and a vision test. I recently had to go to the DMV to get new plates. There, they had no educational information for new drivers. I decided to go to the St. Louis County License Testing Facility, where there was also no information available in person for new drivers. In the Missouri Driver's Guide provided by MoDOT, there are 7 steps to the driver examination. 1. Start and stop the vehicle. 2. Park parallel to the curb. 3. Backing. 4. Make at least 2 right and 2 left turns. 5. Park on a hill. 6. Enter and leave intersections. 7. Understand and obey traffic signs and signals. None of these focuses on highway use. Due to the lack of education, we see problems. Drivers are not using the roads properly. Traffic is unpredictable. There is a lack of understanding for all of the laws. I believe a lack of information is what the governing bodies rely on. If a driver is not taught what is right or wrong, they will never defend themselves as they are told they are a criminal. We believe them because we typically are traveling above the posted speed limit that they set. Serious driving education should be required before receiving a license. I currently have a clean driving record, not because I have not received any tickets, but because I hired a lawyer to get them amended. My intention is not to boast, but to highlight significant flaws within the current system. Despite accumulation of multiple tickets in a short period, my record remains clean due to legal amendments. To amend a ticket means to formally modify the charges or allegations brought against an individual in a legal proceeding. I received a ticket for 84 and a 60, amended to health and safety. I received a ticket for 92 and a 60, amended to an illegal parking ticket. I received a ticket for 86 and a 50 while in a work zone, amended to illegal parking. Because I hired a lawyer, I paid roughly $250 per ticket in court costs with no serious punishment. For the traffic ticket I received for driving 86 in a 50 mile per hour work zone, the ticket ending in 177, the breakdown of court costs included numerous fees such as clerk fee, county fee, court automation fund, and more. Some fees, like the prosecuting attorney retirement fund, raise questions about the fairness and relevance of these charges to my infraction. Speaking of the prosecuting attorney, what about her recent cases? What are the outcomes of her recent cases? Does she allow for amending tickets on a regular basis? I believe these tickets prove many things. These tickets prove it is consistently unlawful to travel in the passing lane. Although I do not have the evidence to prove what lane of the road I was occupying, I can guarantee that was the case for each of these tickets. Due to the natural flow of traffic, those were the speeds I needed to travel to adhere to the realities of traffic flow. These tickets prove that I am only trying to adhere to the natural flow of traffic. I am not excessively abusing my speed. My speeds are consistent for traveling in the passing lane. If the officers allow drivers to travel at speeds up to 19 miles per hour over the posted speed limit in the traveling lanes, to use the passing lane properly, I need to travel faster than those drivers. These tickets prove that no matter the speed or the location of the ticket, the offense of speeding is not serious enough to the courts, to a point where they amend your charge to a non-moving violation. These tickets prove that even with consistent traffic violations, there are never more serious repercussions to prevent the issue from persisting. These tickets prove that the courts can decide on a whim what the outcome will be. These tickets prove that there is an overfilling of traffic violations in our court systems, leading to the quick process of amending tickets on a regular basis. It takes months, in my case, just days short of a year, to determine a court date. Our courts are overfilled with unnecessary traffic violations that are amended to a slap on the wrist. These tickets prove that a speed limit that more accurately reflects the speeds of the general public would reduce the amount of incoming tickets that just get amended, and reduce punishing innocent drivers that are occupying the highway in the passing lanes. The ease with which tickets can be amended by paying a fee to a traffic law office highlights a concerning business model. For around $250, any traffic law center can amend a ticket regardless of the speed involved. Numerous firms, such as Traffic Law Center, Traffic Ticket Center, and traffic law counselors have built businesses around this service. This practice indicates that many individuals feel incapable of defending themselves in court, especially when judges hold them to the same standards as professional lawyers. Defending yourself becomes more difficult when court dates and times are set in the middle of working hours, forcing people to miss work and pay, forcing people to resort to hiring a lawyer. Many people feel compelled to hire a lawyer due to the common perception that court-appointed attorneys, while often described as free, are not truly cost-free and are perceived to provide inadequate defense. The courts may seek compensation through any means available, including personal property. In my case, when I attempted to obtain a court-appointed attorney to help submit evidence, I was informed that one was not available to me since my violation was considered an ordinance violation rather than a criminal charge. Upon asking the judge and calling the court, I could not be informed how I could properly submit my evidence, as they cannot give legal advice. The standards of a lawyer in most cases is sending in a letter or a short conversation for a plea bargain. They say for you that you will plead guilty to a lesser charge. Without ever meeting the lawyer or the judge, the courts agree and decide to amend your charges to most likely an illegal parking ticket violation with court costs. How are our courts allowed to change the charges from moving at high speeds to a non-moving violation? The better question is why. If the purpose of pulling drivers over is to punish and deter drivers from speeding, does this not prove the opposite? The courts are letting drivers off the hook with no corrective actions or reprimands for future incidents, just a monetary gain. I believe this proves the motives are tyrannical. The governing bodies seek absolute control over the general public with a lack of education, unrealistic laws, and a system we must adhere to for defense. Decisions to pull drivers over are unpredictable and punishments are based on personal whims like hiring a lawyer. We are intimidated by officers depriving us of the freedom of using the highways properly. The officers are unaccountable for their actions of speeding, and the governing bodies are driven by monetary gain rather than focusing on the justice, fairness, and safety of drivers on the roads. Ladies and gentlemen of the court, I have proven that the current posted speed limit does not reflect the natural flow of traffic. Due to this, I need to adhere to the realities of traffic flow for my safety and the safety of other drivers on the road. The current system is creating many major traffic problems. Due to this, I must prioritize safety by driving in a manner that reflects actual road conditions, even if that means exceeding the posted speed limit. The current system makes it unlawful for me to drive in the passing lane at any speed. Due to this, I can never be innocent. The officer and prosecutor lacks the evidence to prove any of the information of the ticket. Due to this, it leaves room for reasonable doubt that I may not be the target of this traffic stop and that the speeds may not be accurate. The current system lacks consistency. Due to this, it creates non-compliance. There are major traffic problems. It encourages speeding to a higher degree to adhere to the natural flow of traffic. There are many cases of entrapment, and it creates an impossible way to tell if you will or will not be pulled over for traveling above a posted limit. The current enforcement cannot adhere to their own limits. Due to this, it creates a role model example of non-compliance for the current posted speed limit and makes it impossible to tell when you will or will not be pulled over for driving above a current posted limit. The current governing bodies are allowing the issue of speeding to persist without seeking preventative resolutions. Due to this, it creates non-compliance and major traffic problems. Vehicle standards no longer align with the current speed limits. A lack of comprehensive education contributes to inconsistent traffic flow and entrapment. It creates a system that no longer focuses on the safety of drivers. The systemic flaws in traffic enforcement and regulation have created an environment where compliance is both difficult and dangerous. Given these facts, I believe I am undeserving of punishment. Thank you. This is supposed to be my defense against a speeding ticket for a trial with a jury. At the moment, the judge is claiming irrelevance for the entire presentation and says he will strike my evidence if I attempt to submit this presentation. Any pictures, statistics, essentially nothing will be allowed. I believe all of my evidence is relevant to the charges of speeding and the expectation of a change to the posted speed limit. I greatly appreciate you listening to my presentation. If anyone would like to reach out in regards of representation to claim relevance, please contact me at thepostedspeedlimit@gmail.com.